Hi, George here, and let's take a look at what's new here in the new Photoshop Elements 2024. So we're going right here to the photo editor, and let's open this up and see what has changed. Actually, quite a bit has changed visually. We'll see that in just a second here. There we go, just the load-in screen. Here we go, and you'll notice a whole new look to Photoshop Elements. Now, everything is still pretty much in the same place. So if you're used to where things are, I think it's a little bit harder to see. So if you are having some vision problems, maybe your glasses need to be redone, whatever, it may be a little harder to see what's going on here. Left-hand side, all of our tools. Big difference over here is that the icons are just a little bit smaller, but more importantly, they're now black and white. They're no longer color. And I think the color icons were easier to spot at a real quick glance. So I'm not sure that this is actually an improvement over here by going to black and white. It's more modern, definitely. I don't think it's an improvement. Also, since we're right here, notice that there is a missing button up here. There used to be a button for Create. That's been moved over here to the left-hand side. So it's next to the Open button, and there's now the Create button. This actually makes logical sense because this is where you're going to be starting projects, either opening something up right in here, or you're going to be creating something with the Create. So that makes a lot of sense to have this button over here instead of on the right-hand side. So I have no problem with that. One more kind of subtle difference, but actually is a bit of a big difference, especially for me since I talk about this all the time. And that's that the expert mode is now called the advanced mode. So they've changed the full mode here from expert to advanced. It still does the exact same stuff. They just changed the name of that. So if you are going to be using 2024 in the future, just keep in mind that most of my videos on YouTube, I'll be saying expert when it's now named advanced. Same thing, they just changed the name. I have no idea why they did that. I don't think that this is necessarily an improvement or not. It's just a different name change. Don't forget, the best way to learn how to use this program is with my complete training course where I cover everything, and I'll put a link for that right down there in the description. Now, one thing Photoshop Elements has done, which could be an improvement for any kind of vision problems, is that there's now a dark mode for this. This is the light mode, and if we go over here to Edit, come down to Preferences right here, and General, there we go. Notice that this also has this new look, and then right here at the top, we have UI mode, and we have light and also dark. This is what's new in here. Click on dark. You'll have to close the program down and reopen it to see the new mode. Let me just go ahead. I'll do that. I'll just choose OK. That's now set. And I'll very quickly here just close it and open it. And there we go. There is the dark mode. Now this is how Photoshop looks. So it appears they're trying to make elements look more like Photoshop. And again, that's nice. If you're used to Photoshop and you want it to be going back and forth like I do, it makes it a little bit easier. Things are all in the same place. But I don't think it's necessarily an improvement. As I mentioned, this could be an improvement if you have any vision problems, because now the buttons on the left-hand side over here, the tool buttons, they're now much easier to see. So they're very easy to see over here on the dark mode. And I think that is why they got rid of the color, is for the dark mode, not for the light mode. So again, if you have any vision problems at all, you might want to be using the dark mode. Now, one thing to keep in mind on the dark mode is that if you open up an image in here, the image is going to look brighter because it's surrounded by a lot of darkness. So it may not look brighter on the web because most images on the web are surrounded by white. And if it's surrounded by black here, it's going to look more vibrant, and it may look duller when you put it up onto the web. So you have to just keep that in mind. This may be giving you a false sense when you open a picture up. And here we go. Here's a nice beach vacation shot. And the blues in here look really vibrant. Now, it is a vibrant image anyway. The sky looks very vibrant. These blues look very vibrant. But part of the reason that it looks so nice is because it's on a dark background over in here. And if you're putting this up onto the internet for whatever reason, and wherever you're putting this, it's going to be more likely than not on a white background, and it's not going to be looking as bright. Let me switch out of here. I'll open this up again in the light version, and you'll see what I mean. Let's go ahead. We'll do that switch. And again, that's Edit. Come down here to Preferences and General. Switch back to the light version. Choose OK. And we'll close down and reopen. And up here, File, and come down to Recently Opened. And there we go. It's still a very nice picture, but the sky doesn't look as saturated. The water doesn't look as saturated because we're now on a light background as opposed to a dark background. So if you go for the dark background, just keep that in mind that things may look a bit more saturated to your eye just because of the contrast between the background and your main image. Because this interface has been changed, and most people who watch my videos are sticking with their older versions, I'll be sticking with an older version of Photoshop Elements for most of my videos for at least the next year. I'll be doing new videos on the new features in here, individual videos on each of these new features, going more in depth on those. But for my main training, I'll stick with the old interface just so that nobody gets confused with that. So that's the main change here in the program, is this new look. And again, you may or may not like it. It's really up to you. I don't really see a big reason to change this, except for the dark version is a bit easier to see. Now, there are a lot of other little things that have been changed. I've been noticing a few more things that have also been changed that haven't been mentioned. I'm sure I'll find a lot more of those as I do the new training course for 2024. That will take me about 2 months to finish, so you'll be seeing that towards the end of the year. But let's now look at some of our newer features in here. And I'll change my picture to show that. Let's just find another picture in here. And here we go, pretty straightforward image. Obviously, this one's a little bit low in saturation. That's okay. This was part of the image I used for that picture with the girl being followed by an elephant. This is the girl for that picture. And I want to show you one of the new features here, and that's kind of a nice feature. We'll see how well it does in this picture. I haven't tried this yet, so you'll be the first to see this. Go up here to select. Now, I've had subject select for a while, and that's right here. That will just select our subject. Let's see how that works. Give that a shot and see if it does this okay. Did a good job. It missed right in here. Kind of pointed out right in here. Missed that a little bit, but that's okay. I always expect to have to clean things up. I'll use the Control-D keyboard shortcut to deselect. We now have 2 more of these fast selection techniques. We have background and we have sky. Now, background really should be exactly the same thing as if I took the subject select and then inverted that selection. That should give us the exact same thing. We'll try that one. There we go. Same problems in there. Notice how it automatically goes to a selection tool for fixing this thing. We'll talk about that in a moment. So that's what it did. It was just doing the subject select and then inverting that. No problem. I'll use the Control-D keyboard shortcut again to deselect that selection. Let's now try the sky. Now, this should find the sky pretty easily, but there's no blue in the sky in this picture, so this could confuse us. We'll see if it figures this one out or not. It knows where the sky should be, but it won't be finding any blue. Okay, but it did find that, did a pretty good job in here. It's missing a little bit of the selections down here, and it got part of her hat, which is wrong. And again, that's usual for these fast selection tools. You'll have to go back in and clean up or adjust them. But if you have a nice clean edge on your background, nice blue sky, you just want to add something with some clouds, this tool will do that for you, and it's pretty fast. I think this could be a time saver for certain pictures. Now, if you notice down here in the tool options, we have something new over here, right-hand side, right here, it says select. Here's 3 buttons for those fast selections. Here's your subject select, here is your sky, and here's your select background. So you have the new buttons in here for the different ways of fast selecting. This can be a big time saver, especially if you have a nice clean edge, and it's easy for Photoshop Elements to spot that. This can save you quite a bit of time. If not, you'll have to go back and make adjustments or corrections, as you can see in here. This would need some fixing for this to work out properly. If I was going to change the sky color back in there, it's missing a lot of that sky area over here in the trees. Control-D to deselect again. Let's go over to another one of our new features in here, and that's under the guided edit. That's the first option over here, left-hand side. This is add text. Now, personally, I think adding text in the advanced mode, which used to be called the expert mode, is just as easy. I think this is even a bit more confusing, possibly, but here we go. Add text as a guided edit. If you like working with guided edits, this can save you some time. Here we go. Just come over here, choose your kind of text you want to have, horizontal or vertical, a paragraph style text, text on a shape, or text on a path. Choose that, click in, place in your text. Notice it comes in here with some standard Greeking text for this. Also, the buttons here have changed. The green button is no longer green, and the red button is no longer red. They're now both in blue and white. Same thing though, check mark for okaying it or approving it, and the X to cancel out that operation. Just approve that, and we'll add in some outlining here. Click on Advanced, and that brings up the Style Settings dialog box. So you can make adjustments in here. That's nice that they did have this. A lot of the guided edits don't give you the full controls. This one does. Down below, we can then add in a gradient or a pattern. And here's one thing I'm a little bit upset about. I think they made the wrong choice down here. Your first option for adding in a gradient is putting in a rainbow gradient text. Most people And most users of this program, unless they have a specific need to, most people are not going to be using rainbow text in lettering. It just doesn't look good. I mean, you can do it, but it really isn't a good option. It doesn't make the lettering look any better. So I don't think it's a good option to have chosen that. I would prefer to have in here as the top options a foreground to background color option as your first one, maybe a black to white option as a second option in there, maybe a color to clear as a third option. Those are going to be used far more frequently. And of course, you can always choose any gradient that you want. It's just a placement thing that I'm most upset with here. If I scroll down, I don't see any foreground to background in here anywhere. A lot of other stuff. There we go, way down at the bottom. Well, even this one isn't your foreground to background, but these are similar, but they're really grayscales. So I'm not even seeing the one in here, which should be the most logical one to have as your first option, and that's the foreground to background color, and maybe as your second option, the black to white. So they missed a bet here, I missed an option on not giving us the best choice for our first and second options. We'll have to go and hunt those down. Let's now switch over here to the quick mode. I'm just going to discard all those changes. Now quick has a new tool over here, right-hand side, and it's these quick actions. I'm going to close that down just for a second. Now, quick mode looks like it always has before, of course, with the change in the basic coloration in here of the window. We have our Smart Fix exposure, lighting, all this standard stuff. It still works the same, no real change on how this is done. So all that stays the same if you happen to like the quick mode. But there is one new feature here. It's not really a new feature as opposed to a merging of a lot of existing features into one location. And that's the Quick Actions button right here at the bottom. Bring that up. And here there are a lot of things you can get to other ways. Smart Fix, color correction, dehaze, red eye fix, JPEG artifacts removal. This is one of the filters. Add blue sky, smooth skin, color black and white photo. All these are available elsewhere, but they've been brought in here into the Quick Fix as a one-click adjustment. Let's see how the Add blue sky works. Click on that, we'll see what happens. It's going to go through and make a mask for that. There we go. And not too bad. It gave us basically the same mask that we did when we did our sky selection. It's a little off up here in the trees, as I was mentioning. It did grab the girl's hat like there, like we saw that was going to be happening, but not too bad. And over here, this little button, this takes you right over into the expert mode, or as they now call it, the advanced mode, which is a good feature. This is the way things should be done, and that's something which the quick mode has needed for a long time, was very quick access to the more advanced mode where you have all of your tools available for your work. The new feature here, the quick actions, not a bad thing to do. I think this is a useful addition if you happen to be using quick mode a lot, and quick mode is very good if you're in a time crunch and you want to get things done quickly. This is a great way to start off. As always though, I recommend going over here to the advanced mode and doing most of your work over here in advanced mode, or it used to be called, let's just say advanced mode, previously known as expert mode. Not a bad tool, and everything is still editable over here in the advanced mode once you do your quick mode adjustment. Another new feature is in the effects panel. Used to be a button down below here, right-hand side, bottom right-hand corner. That's now a tab up here, upper right-hand corner. Effects, and that's color match. Interesting tool. They give you several options in here, several color options. And then down below here, you can also import a photo. And what this will do is it will allow you to match your current photo to the colors in one of these photos. Now it does it kind of like a gradient map, where it takes the colors of the light areas and maps those to the light areas in your image. It takes the colors from the dark areas and maps those to the dark colors in your image. It is a color mapping technique on this, which occasionally works out great, sometimes works out very weird. We'll see how this goes. Let's click on the top left-hand corner here. Obviously very odd coloration. Let's go to our next one over here. Still kind of weird. Here's a bit of a sepia tone thing with some purple in there. Odd. Notice we're hanging on to some of this kind of fleshy tone, purpley thing, which is just really kind of weird. So in this quick run through, I'm not seeing this really being a great tool in this particular use using their examples. And where this would be very useful, you're taking a series of pictures, you had a lot of pictures, and they were a little bit off on their color balance, depending upon where the sun was or which direction you're turning to take your images. And you wanted to normalize all of those to the same look. Simply choose the one that had the best color and then import that down here as your example and use that to match color all the rest of your images. You're matching all the images to the same set. You're just picking the best of the set and matching everything else to that one of the best set. And that would be a very great way to use this tool. So for that, it's very, very useful. Notice once you have a picture down here, you can then adjust your saturation, hue, and brightness right here. So we can do a hue shift on this if I wanted to. There we go, really odd effects in there. Or a saturation, more saturation, less saturation, and kind of fine tune the effect right here. Now, this does show up one real serious problem with this whole color match thing. I have no idea why they don't have this on here. There should be a reset button up here. In case you're not happy with this, click on the reset and go back to your original. We don't have that. So if I switch back over here to layers, all we can do is take the colorized version up here, which comes in as a new layer, hide that to go back to our original. So I have to come out to here, get rid of that one, come back to the original here, and if I want to try something else, then go back over to effects and try something different. So you have a lot more steps in there. It'd be a lot easier if there was simply a reset button up here that reset it back to the original and removed the color match effect. You can then try again. I think that's a much better way to go. Hopefully they'll add that reset button in the future. Adobe does tend to watch my videos, and we may see that in the next version in 2025. Who knows? We'll have to see about that. There should be a reset button right here to reset this. But until then, again, I'm not happy about these things. I think they have bad color choices. It just makes for weird looking pictures. But I think what is useful about this, again, is to take an image from a series of pictures, take the best one of those, import that as your example, and then use that picture from the same set to recolorize everything else from that set so that they're all matching in color value. That's a good use for this particular tool and can save you a lot of time. Let's go over here to the artistic. I talked about this in the last version, 2023. This thing showed up where you can come in here and actually apply different artistic styles onto images. And they've added a few more styles in here. To be honest, I really haven't used this that much, but there can be some interesting uses for this kind of a tool. So they've added a few more options. And that also is one of the big problems with this kind of a tool in any program that has this kind of a tool where they have these presets. The big problem is that there aren't enough presets. And you want to be able to add more presets in there to make it more useful. And they're adding in a few more styles, and that's real nice. Okay, it's back out of here. Go back to layers. I'll just delete that one layer. We don't really need that one. Get rid of that. There we go, back to the original one in here. And let's take a look at another new feature. This one could be good. I don't know. We'll have to see if you like it or not. We'll go up here to File, and we now have Search on Adobe Stock. We've had access to Adobe Stock for a while, but here's now easily built in with a search tool right here. This allows you to go onto the Adobe Stock site and do a search. Of course, to do this, you're going to have to be logged into your account, and there are several different free categories you can grab stuff from. Most of the Adobe Stock library is paid licensing, but they do have some free images, and here's a way to quickly access those free images. Personally, I always use sites like Pixabay instead, where everything is free access, but there's some good stuff here on Adobe Stock as well, and having some free options this easy to get to is real nice. Just do a search up here. Just do a search for happy dog, see if we get anything on that. There are quite a few in here. Simply choose a dog right there, and then you license for free. We'll download that, and the watermark should then go away once we do the download. Let's see if that works okay. There we go. And here's this free image. Again, most of the images in the Adobe Stock library are paid images, but they do have a selection of free ones, and here's a fast way to get some of those things. Notice that this comes into your existing project. It came in as a new layer on my existing project right here. I can prove that just by moving it around. There we go. It's just sitting in as a new layer in the existing project. And we'll hide that. Another new feature here, back over here under Create, is the new Photo Reel. Now this is kind of like doing a slideshow, but this is aimed at social media. Obviously, it is similar to Reels over on Instagram, but if you're doing TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or wherever else you want to be doing something, you can do Reels to very quickly put together a quick slideshow that is formatted properly for that particular use. And to do this, we need to have at least 2 images open. I'll do a few more than that. Let's just close this picture down and go up to File and Open. And I'll grab some animal pictures here out of this particular folder that I'm in. One of my collections of stock photography. Just get a few of those pictures, choose Open. There we go, 5 images. Go up here to Create, come down to Photo Reel. And notice that it works just like a guided edit. This will be walk you through this. And we're first here, we have our standard layout here. I'm taking media from computer or organizer. We're doing from the computer. Here's your format right here. What you're using depends upon where you're going to be showing this. 2x3, for instance, is a good size for Pinterest, and you can do a real fast slideshow this way for Pinterest. So the options down here have Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, Threads. It doesn't mention Pinterest, but again, 2 to 3 is the correct one for Pinterest. Simply choose the format you want. Here is the TikTok format. Let's go over here to Instagram. We'll do the Instagram Reel format right there. So it resets that. Then come down to Effects and choose your effects. I'll do a contrast here on this one. Adjust our intensity a little bit. Grab our Move tool. Move our picture around, get just the spot that you want in here. Maybe like that. Notice as I move, I get my control handles in here. I can actually change the size by using the control handles. It just maximizes it right now to fit. Here's our next picture. Resize and reposition this. Next picture and so forth. Get it where you want it. Give this a canvas look, maybe a lightened look. That's kind of interesting or unusual. Go down here to the elephant. Let's pull him back a little bit. There we go. Give him a warmer tone on that. Or a contrasty tone. I think a warmer tone for him. And you also can come down and add in graphics if you want to, put graphics on top of this. You can see how it looks by clicking on the play button. And it's just a real fast little slideshow just like that. Obviously, the horse needs to get moved in there. So click on our horse, Move tool, bring our horse back like that. There we go. You also can add some type in here. Here's our type tool. Click in here, just add in some type. So you can put in captions for each one of your images. That's fine. Back to our Move tool and back to layout. And if you're happy with everything, click on Export, and we'll then export that out as an MP4 file, which can be used then on your different social media. So a fun little tool. I think this can be a nice one to use. Once you're done, just click on Cancel down here, and we'll just cancel out that project and get back over here again. One last thing, Adobe mentioned their mobile app here for Photoshop Elements again, but it's still in beta, so I'll wait until it's in its final release before we begin talking about that or showing that on the channel. I don't see anything here really that's groundbreaking, except for that light or dark mode for the interface. I think for people who have a certain kind of vision impairment, having the dark mode may be an assist on that. So that might be a reason to upgrade to 2024. All the other features I don't think are really that great. Some of them are interesting, but no groundbreaking new features as far as I can see in here. Nothing really that would cause me to upgrade automatically from an earlier version. But on the channel, I'll stick with the older version so I have the older interface because most people are not going to be upgrading to this new version. And again, I'll be doing a new course here for 2024. It will take me a couple of months to get that whole new course put together, make all the videos for that. So that will be available at some point in December. And I'll be doing some more videos in here, doing some projects with some of these new features here over the next week or two. So we'll get more into depth on these new features so you can see if you really like those features or not before making your purchase decision. Okay, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Click on subscribe if you haven't already done so you can always come back and find my videos. And I'll see you next time.